Hello, welcome to Diary of a Disabled and also Stormy training time. I told her to stay. You stay. So, showing my little station here. There's Stormy staying. Stay. And this is my butt cushion. I use this thing in my car. I use it everywhere I go. Wherever I need to go to help with relieving the stress on my spine because the most amount of pressure I put on my spine is when I'm sitting. Well, I'm standing quite a bit, but when I'm standing, I'm trying to move and not stand in one place. Standing in one place is really bad. Movement is fine, but a lot of movement gets exhausting, and I have chronic fatigue, so go figure. So I'm now at the process of, I just stuffed all my parents' wedding invitations. I'm covering up the address and stuff, but this is what it ended up looking like. There's the one picture, the information in the center, and then the picture I took of them with my green screen and all that good stuff in the background. And then I changed the background on them, and that's quite nicely. Stormy, get over here. Lay down. Down. I told you to stay. Get down. Down. Good girl. Now let me get reinforcement. Hold up. Gotta give her reinforcement for being good and doing the stay. But she's not gonna get another treat unless she stays. So, right now, what I was using as leverage is a play, because play is the absolute thing that she wants nonstop. So, I'm trying to train Stormy to be my I'm training her to be my service dog. I have not taken her to formal training yet. That is on my list of things to do once I pay some of my debt, after I get back from vacation, and after I have a great summer camping. So, around winter time next year is the time that I plan to also potentially have spinal cord surgery, but also I need to get her into obedience training. I really need her to really mellow out with the freaking plane, but she's a high energy dog. I'm disabled. I have all these appointments all the time, as you guys see. Then other days I'm in flare all the way, just in bed nonstop. It's just, it's a cycle. And right now I'm breaking the cycle. I haven't taken any of my anxiety meds today. I have not taken any of my pain medication today because I have none. I see my primary tomorrow. So I had my chiropractic adjustment this morning, which was great. It went good, and then I thought it was going to go sideways, but it actually ended up being a miracle with what movement we got. Like I'm really happy with my chiropractor. We know so much about my pain pattern. We know how much has changed since my fall in December, and how much that fall has impacted my regular pain cycle schedule to a new normal, but not normal. It's very sporadic, and I'm just that much more unstable with this tethered spinal cord. I cannot move without much pain, and I have to try and keep moving a little bit. I honestly, it makes me think of in the 90s and the people that I knew that were tweakers that did meth back in the day would always be like nonstop moving. And I'm like, gosh, I have to be almost like that now as a disabled woman, constantly moving, so I do not get stuck in the out position or misaligned because I have bad posture. I have to be thinking about my feet position as I sit here. I have to think about my hip position. I have to think about my shoulder position, my freaking neck position. And I have to change it back. And I have to make sure I sit back. I have to have both feet on the ground, heels touching the ground, not slouching forward in my chair, but actually kind of sitting straight up as much as possible. And this is how I'm supposed to be sitting ergonomically in order to help keep my back and everything aligned with the pressure points at the regular pressure points where they're supposed to be, where things hinge, like at the hips, which I have bursitis in. I also have bursitis in my left shoulder. Um, I have problems with a lot of my soft tissue, connective tissue issues. It's all part of being under the umbrella of hypermobility, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, HEDS. There's 13 types of EDS, and hypermobility type is the most common, but the only one that does not have a genetic marker that's known. So it's a very thorough process to get clinically diagnosed with HEDS, and that is only after they review the family history. They do a physical examination. They have to measure your arm breadth's worth. They do measurements about your torso. They do measurements to rule out things like Marfan's syndrome. And Marfan's is actually something to do. There's a lot of with Marfan's. There's a lot of like congenital deformities, but it's because of one of the underlying genes that has to do with like gigantism and that kind of stuff. Like it's kind of like in the same kind of like family or offspring or offshoot of that kind of stuff. There's a lot of like back in the day with the circus, like the hairy man or the hairy woman. Like she had like some of those kind of like genes, and same with the giants. They have a more mutation in a certain gene or an arm of a gene, or there's all kinds of things about genetics which are amazing. And the hereditary things. So at least on my mom's side, there are signs of Marfan's, but not full-blown Marfan syndrome at all by any means. Just certain characteristics that go along with Marfan's, which is a congenital jaw defect, and that's where the chin grows down and backwards. And that's my mom's mom had it. My mom has it. My mom's identical twin has it. I have it. And it's usually a sign of Marfan's, but we don't have any of the other characteristics that go along with Marfan's, except for there is some really long torsos in my mom's side of the family. There's a lot of tall genes on my mom's side of the family, so I did not get the tall part. I got a lot of my dad's genetics. I'm really almost like 50-50 with their genetics. That's crazy. I have the Marfan sign from my mom's side that's really strong with the jaw problems. And it does cause a lot of problems in the jaw with swallowing and with TMJ. And, it just makes me think about all this other things that it could be related to. It's just, the body's amazing. Anatomy is amazing. There's so many things I have learned about mine and my malformations in my body that I know what was congenital and what wasn't. And I know the MRI and my Navy shows I did not have Chiari malformation at one point. And then within a year of getting out, I had Chiari malformation. So I do know that that was not congenital. And that is the fight that I'm fighting the VA right now, about it being congenital versus acquired. And since I acquired a lot of pain problems from bulges in a disc that pressed against my spinal cord, and my spinal cord just so happened to have gotten tethered at some point, which I think it got tethered when I was running during PT one day. My spinal cord just went right in the right spot with my hypermobility in my hip because I was having hip issues. I thought, around that time too. It all kind of makes sense. It all kind of lines up with the timeline of things. And then finally, 8 to 10 years later, finally having figured out I have this connective tissue issue, this Ehlers-Danlos syndrome thing, exercise intolerance, to come to find out I have this Chiari malformation. My brain's coming out the bottom of my skull, thyroid issues, freaking growths in my thyroid, freaking cysts in my brain, cysts all over the place that are all like, whatever, they're cysts. How can I not have any kind of medical PTSD from all that? Seriously. It's amazing what the body can do, though. And it's great that Stormy's staying. I'm doing my job, training her. The moment that she changes, I have to correct her and then, give her the food for... And it's best to reinforce with giving her a trick that she does know how to do, since she doesn't maybe not know why she was in trouble, why she, hey, I have to get her to lay down. It's about positive reinforcement, but it's also about repetition. Repetition is key. I get really sidetracked with a lot of things with my ADHD, and a lot of the times I just have to ignore my dog throughout the entire day. I did a really hard thing from raising her from a pup. The potty training taught me so much patience, but I had so many meltdowns, so many autistic ADHD meltdowns. I had meltdowns like crazy training my dog when she was a puppy. Oh my gosh. I was having meltdown after meltdown. I'm just like, oh my God, I can't do this. I'm so frustrated. But she is like the best dog in the world, really. And I kept telling myself this. I'm like, this is just a phase. But with my meltdowns, I couldn't take it, and I wasn't getting any medical care stuff, and just the pain all the time, and I'm just like not having a doctor. It was just I had a rough couple of years. In the last couple of years when COVID happened, it just shut everything down. I was starting to make progress with allergy shots. I was starting to get treatment for my primary immunodeficiency disease, and then the VA decided to not help me with that, and then I'm like, F it, and I was trying to get my Social Security disability, so I was trying to focus on that, and I had to do all this stuff for my lawyer, and get all this information from this doctor and this doctor. You know how many doctors I have seen in my life? I have seen over 100 doctors. I have brain fog from multiple exhausting conditions and progressive conditions. It is so hard to remember dates and things. At one point, I actually printed all of this stuff out. I printed out all my drug allergies. It's like a whole page long. I printed out all the medication that I currently take, what doctor prescribes that medication. All of this stuff is amazing to have on hand, especially when you see hundreds of doctors all the time, it seems like. And then none of them work together or in conjunction with each other. So then there's no communication between doctors. And then it's just it's up to me. You're like, hey, this doctor is doing this with me, blah, 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 blah. You need to take this into account when you treat me for this. This is what I'm dealing with right now. Oh, it's too much for you, so send me to a specialist. And now I have a third doctor. This is what chronic illness disability life is like. One person to another person to another person. And then none of them talk to each other. I've been trying my best to make sure that everybody talks to each other as best that I can. And I talk to my primary regularly every single week, so I can be like, look, this is what just happened. Look, this is the next thing that's happening. Look, this is what's scheduled now. Look, I already got this signed up. I am doing all these things, and it helps me stay accountable. Well, I'm signing off here, folks. My dad got home, and I don't want to change places in my recording, so y'all, I hope you have a great day, and peace out. Keep smiling. Life is beautiful. Life is short. You never know how much time you got left. Be happy as you can be.